Baten, Kaitos, and the Lost Ocean, the most ethereal RPG from 2003. Listen, I appreciate you being here, so I'm not gonna waste your time, and I'm also just gonna wave, say hi, and we're gonna jump in immediately. Making my case, Cozy Edition. Thank you. A JRPG is simply a reference to the region in which the RPG was developed in. So in this case, it's Japan. Just making a small distinction.
As a sucker for great aesthetics, this is the one. Art style, voice acting, and the guardian spirit.
The style and flair of this game is virtually unmatched in any way, and even in the modern day, to be really honest. And I mean in the sense that it's very unique. I personally think that being unique is more important than the technical, quote-unquote, betterness of something, because sometimes, even if it's better, it doesn't mean it's good or enjoyable. Plus, this was made 20 years ago, and it really stands up. That says a lot. The varying art styles, colors, textures, everything just brings it that much closer to life, or whatever we perceive as life.
Especially since the names are actually influenced by real-life cultures from around the world.
Which I love, by the way, and also
anyone really tries to look me in my face to try to tell me this confectionery village doesn't look just absolutely downright delicious, I know you're a fucking liar.
And with that, let's continue.
The School of Magic in Inue is probably one of the most lively, colorful, beautiful places.
A much more green, clean, and posh version of Hogwarts, mind you, so very cute.
Also, yes, the main character did just keel over, but to be fair, the world really allows you to interact with it in this game. This game is actually really good at that whole cause and effect thing that happens in real life. Oh, and all that music you're hearing? Yeah, this is the game's music. This is far ahead of any of the BS that I've seen or heard before, so just saying that so you know. Which, by the way, is its own section, but I have to say this game does an amazing job of making you feel like you're a real-life alien in this world that you're in, and that you actually are living it.
Everything about this game pleases the senses and pulls you in. I mean, Jesus Christ, did you just notice we're putting in constellations into this church? What, the roof of the church? Ever thought of even executing these details like this? Deserves not only a gold star, but an award. Because Jesus Christ, just look at this. Souls coming out of a dead god's body. Ugh, just so hot, right? Watercolor backgrounds are my sustenance, my bread and butter.
Anyways, yeah, let me focus. So enjoy these last few shots because I do want you to get a feel for what the game is like and what it looks like. It really is just such a beautiful piece of work. I guess I wanted to share that. So here you go. Soundtrack and vocals.
Soundtrack review, and it does not disappoint. This goes hard, okay? It varies throughout different genres, but it never stops. You guide me, you inspire me, you give me passion. Oh no, my heart bias is showing. Just kidding, no regrets, because it's so good. Hit it! Ooh, it's about to get juicy.
Woo! Whoa, mama. Telling you. It's just so good, I had to give you guys a taste.
Oh, and even if you don't like it, you're so welcome. Because my will to live is so strong. Woo! So just a tiny warning, please turn it down, please God. It's for your own sake. Ears will thank you, promise.
Millennium of sleep thou hath broken. The powers of a god thou hath awakened. What will thou contribute?
The voice of a guardian, which resides in this tree. The guardian of the third and Magnus.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in some places, I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't, no. So, alright, minor detour. We're doing this. We're going in just a little off the path. A tiny treat, if you will. Please, have faith, I promise. This is worth it.
In this world, there are things that people mustn't touch. Who cares?
The god of demise and destruction, the cursed power of Malpertio.
The Eth Magnus? Never heard of that before.
Damn! The bastards!
It's unthinkable to act against the Empire!
As heroes, we have so much to do.
I've been waiting.
Kill him. If left alone, he will prove it right to my empire.
Let us trust the
Just
young,
one more.
who hold the spirit within them.
The struggle alone will fill a great emptiness within you and ease your pain.
How long have you known?
Come on, Kibari! Move it!
Go away!
Our only hope is the long-lost ocean.
Awaken! Ancient god of destruction!
Be what you always dreamed to be!
Someday you will know who you really are.
A cosmic and divine interruption. You, me, we are the guardian spirit. We are joined with this man for reasons we don't know. Yeah, he's gone. So yeah, what you saw is basically we give advice and ultimately he still does whatever he wants. So there I was, minding my own business, drinking my ghost juice, when this man suddenly starts to approach me and address me. So I look at him and I hear him out and I'm like, hey, no worries, like we're all good. Yeah, let's get bonded. I'll be with you by your side. No worries, etc., etc. And we decide to become friends, or whatever the fuck this is exactly, because I'm just like a ghost that quote unquote protects this man, and we just kind of like vibe, but like he constantly reminds me that I have nothing to do with his life, so it's like, all right, cool, whatever, homie, like relax. And so the whole premise of this game was born. Two people from completely different worlds coming together to help each other, even if we are not particularly friends. In a weird way, I find it kind of oddly hilarious that the developers made this with a parasocial angle in mind, because the main character, I mean, we're cool and whatever, and he talks to me, etc. directly, but the thing is, it's like he's constantly reminding me, he's like, you don't know me, or like one of those hoes, it's like, oh, we're not friends just because, it's like, bitch, shut the fuck up, oh my god, like you're not even famous. And by the way, even if you were, by the way, you're the one that called me, asshole. What the fuck? Get off. It's literally like anybody that comes to you for comfort and being like, oh my god, like please hold me, and then after they get their sweet emotional labor, they're like, oh, by the way, all your problems, I don't give a fuck, or ooh, who the hell do you think you were to tell me shit? Oh my, what the? I will say, fresh twist, developers. Okay, I like it. And now let's get into the real meat. Let's get into the characters. Main character is Callus. He is the most strong-headed, annoying, and tragic, basically, which is that his only family, his grandfather and his brother, were killed at the very start of the game by corrupt Imperial soldiers. And he is also one of the most complicated and morally gray characters in this entire story. It's the portrayal of somebody with razor-sharp focus, but at the expense of other people, which is pretty fucked. I also really love the fact that they made him a disabled man who was initially born with only one wing, having his grandfather actually forge him another one, in this world where it's very common to have two wings and to be born with wings. Which I thought was a really amazing detail, and the fact that he's always been considered an outsider because of his disability. Next in command is Shella, who was actually introduced as part of a group of scholars who then died within the first act and she was the only one left, which was very weird. But yeah, she actually cares about the world around her. She doesn't want to see people die, but she is kind of low-key annoying whenever she talks, and I'm just like, oh my god, make it stop. And it just goes to show, just because you're annoying doesn't mean that you're not right. Because she is actually the most morally upstanding person next to Callus, for sure, who really eats his own ass, so it's crazy. And now Gibari, who is actually one of the warmest characters in the entire story, and he really personifies dad energy minus, any of the kids. He also is the most forward-thinking of his village, but what really drives him is the hatred of imperialism and of seeing his village overrun by people that don't give a fuck about those people or anybody living in the vicinity. And here we have Savina, our one-piece-wearing babe, who is rumored to be a bounty hunter, but we're not really sure. That's just kind of a theory, I guess, as well as the fact that she was found living alone, hunting for her money. So there really isn't much that we know about her. She's extremely mysterious, I will say that much, out of the entire bunch. And here we have Liud, who is actually part of Alfard, the nation that we are all fighting against collectively. And despite the fact that he is in a position and part of a job that basically perpetuates the whole thing that we're fighting against, he himself is not corrupted by the bullshit. And he sees through it, even though he has an entire family history being in the government. Last but not least is the great Mizuri, who arrives not only mysteriously, but also as the androgynous figure of the group. Coming from great magic and a hidden village of magicians, they are also never seen without their mask. Prior to meeting the group, the entire village was slaughtered and everyone that they knew and cared about was wiped away. Past the surface and onto the bone structure of this game. Character design. Steampunk, futuristic origins, amazing lattice design. What can I say? Ahead of its time. Game mechanics as a card-based RPG. One of the coolest parts of this mechanic is that time isn't static. The things in your deck that serve as food or other kinds of items or even weapons, they do age. You can combine them and they also can be layered to make a super effective attack. It's also really cool to me that you can capture essences or certain things with these same cards that you use during battle outside of battle. It's something that never fails to fascinate me. There's a point system and it goes on like that. But honestly, you just can't really get a feel for it unless you're playing the game. And playing the game is so worth it because weirdly, even the gameplay is super fun and you can learn to combine things or get better at it. It's not static at all, just like time. As someone that doesn't have a ton of life experience with card-based RPGs, I have to say this is one of the most excellent executed pieces of art that I have ever seen regarding the matter. So if you are interested, I would highly check it out if you're into this kind of mechanic or enjoy games like this. So yeah, the battle sequences are definitely unique and every single character gets their own specialties or has their own weapons or their own special field of expertise, whether it be magic or brute force. Definitely worth playing. Nuanced details and hidden gems within the gameplay. Subtext and themes. Drama in plain sight. This game is extremely good at exploring many topics that feel very true to life and even nowadays, which is fucking crazy. As well as the fact that it puts you in so many different perspectives that you're able to understand things that you normally wouldn't as a player in general. So for starters, I think it's a really nice, great message that absolutely every single character is suffering and at some points some reach deep misery and everybody has their own problems. I think that's one of the main takeaways about it, but overall it's just kind of an interesting portrayal about the fact that life is pain, life is suffering, being alive is not easy, being alive is conflict. Next, we have the pressure to make decisions, especially under a time crunch, and the fact that time in general, doesn't stop, as well as our responsibility to those that depend on us. Following that, we have basically joining together and working towards a greater good and trusting people and learning how to trust people, even when everything inside you is screaming against it. In order to say, sometimes winning
requires you to put your fears and your ego aside. Otherwise, you are doomed to repeat failure over and over again.
Oh, and yeah, this sequence is in here because it's just like, this game is kind of like a little comedy sometimes. Basically, it goes that one character has secret beef with another one because he's like, oh, he was part of the coup that killed my family. But in reality, he's just kind of like this peace hippie dude that gets sent off because nobody wants him around because he's not really effective. So it's like, lol, okay. So, you know. Up next is the fact that people are who they are, not who we want them to be. And I'm not gonna fucking play around, okay? The main character is an asshole, okay? He was willing to let people die, which is his prerogative, but I mean, at the end of the day, it just kind of showcases the fact that it's like you don't control anybody, even the characters in a game, like, you are just an observer of other people, basically. And I was like, at 10 years old, hell yeah, thanks for teaching me that. What's good? So I carry that with me. Thanks, game. Next is basically destroying wherever the hell we came from because your beliefs don't align, you just don't belong anymore. And in general, you yourself as a person has shifted to such a drastic degree that there's nothing that you share with the core group that you started out with. As well as, destroying your dependency on toxicity, and it's almost like a weird representation of like toxic relationships where it's like you're loved conditionally under the fact that you have to be exactly the way that they want you to be. Otherwise, you're not valid or useful to them. So, yeah, there you go. Following that, we have the theme of constant self-improvement, and especially the world around us, our communities, even in tiny, small ways, even if it's just advice, because every single little bit of help actually does matter. The world building in this game is immaculate, as well as mirroring real attitudes of nations during war or I don't know, bro. At 10 years old, this was blowing my mother effing mind. You know what? No, I'll say motherfucking mind. I'll say what I like. But yeah, it's actually super funny and crazy, actually, how this game broke down fascism and especially nations that want to stay quote-unquote neutral in the sense that they don't want to get involved with the war. And if there's like stuff going on, but that's a whole different complicated thing because, Queen Corellia was a depiction of that in itself. Just a leader that didn't want to get involved because she also understood that her people would get slaughtered. So, interesting stuff, One of my favorite themes that this game had to offer was the fact that it really stressed the fact that you can let people enjoy what they like, believe what they want, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. Like, if it's not hurting anybody, and especially if that's like their belief system, or if it's like a prayer that they, in this case is the case, that just let them have it, yeah? A subtle theme running throughout was the fact that refugees are being displaced from their home countries because of the war. How dire the situation is, and how nobody gives a fuck because they are poor. Again, I think it just mirrors reality so well, it's just oof. The last of the themes that I have prepared for you is our relationship with nature, and how this game focuses a lot on that. In the world of baten kaitos, by the way, just to be very clear, it's actually not a whole thing compared to nature. It's the fact that they're waking up some evil god named Malpersia or some shit. So just to say that, but at the same time, I'm just letting y'all know this little poetic license, I think, still stands for global warming, but I'm just gonna shut up now. But very quickly, I'm gonna throw in the fact that as the world is being consumed by evil, everything around them starts to die. From the trees, to the world around them, to the rivers overflooding, to the carcasses of animals long assumed dead, coming back to life, or even regenerating. So yeah, our relationship with nature. And I can't help but feel that it's related to Shintoism, but still excellently executed. Labor of love, human touches within the game. From petty comments to dad energy moments, this game has it all. I also think it's super funny that how at the university there are different types of people, and it showcases that. From the girl that followed her boyfriend to university and hates it, to the guy that's like, okay, listen, dude, like this teacher is a dumb, naive person because clearly we're always gonna be okay. I don't know, it's just funny, all this little reaction stuff to the portrait of Savina. final thoughts and closing statements. Okay, so we are here, and off the top, I have to say it, it's 9 out of 10. The only point I took off was because of the inconsistent and at times super bad voice acting. But other than that, even with my bias put aside, because yes, I was 10 years old when I played this and I loved it, it stands up. The fact that it stands up in 2023, bro, 20 years later, and this is still a diamond, a gem, something I will never be able to let go of, and also one of the origin stories, one of the OGs of the entire genre. I can't stress how highly recommend this game goes, so if you can, try to play it, but you know, tiny secret time. Being that when I was 10 years old, yeah, there were 2 discs that made up this one game. And guess what? I lost the second one, and even though I was ready to beat the game and get onto the second disc, I never found that bitch. So yeah, I never fucking finished the game. But guess what? I still have deep love for it. It is what it is. Did I have an existential crisis when I was 10 playing this game? Sure. But did I enjoy the plot twists and everything that went on with the story? Oh, like a novella, like a soap. I was sick for it. Solid 9 out of 10. Dear viewer, I'm not going to play with your head or your heart. It is not my job to toy with you. I will say it is borderline impossible to play this game. And I'm making this video ironically because I love it so much and because I wish that we had a remake on the Switch. It's that bad. Yes, there's a meme. It's that bad. So I'm so sorry. Oh, and one last thing. Baten kaitos is actually translated from Arabic to say sea monster's belly, which is so fucking cool. And also, it is a real star. Okay, it's time to give you back. Thank you for your time. Thank you for taking this excursion with me. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I leave you with this. Please take care, okay? Bye-bye.